Hi, everybody. Welcome to Read Aloud with Miss Starkey. We are continuing with the text Out of My Mind. We're moving on to chapter 28. It is not working. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so we want to take a second and highlight some of the points from the last chapter from 27. Melody's team had won their competition. And in chapter 27, Melody was highlighted in the newspaper after her team won the competition. But Melody was worried that her teammates would resent her for the extra attention that she got and that they wouldn't want her on the team anymore. So she was worrying about that and having some trouble. She did have a teammate that helped talk her through that and gave her a different perspective, as we learned about in yesterday's lesson also. They were waiting when the chapter ended to hear who made the team for Washington and who was going to be an alternate, because not all of them could compete. So some of them were going to compete and some were going to be an alternate. An alternate means if somebody else couldn't make it, then somebody else would join in and take their spot. So for our pre-write today, I want to talk about the feeling of disappointment. Okay, because as we're going to learn here pretty soon, Melody faces a huge disappointment in chapter 28. So I wanted us to kind of start thinking about what disappointment means. Okay, disappointment means that you feel sad about something, somebody let you down, something didn't go the way that you expected. Okay, so I want you guys to think about a time when you felt disappointed and how did this make you feel? Okay, and how did you handle that? So I'm going to give you a couple seconds to go ahead and write about that feeling, write about that time and experience in your life, and maybe about a minute or two, and then we'll move on from there. So go ahead and take a minute and write down your feelings. All right. So today we're going to focus on the skill of inferencing. I know that that is, when we take the time to infer when we're reading, that can be one of the trickiest things that we do as scholars. I know that sometimes it can be challenging, so I wanted to take some time today and look at some inferencing through chapter 28 and make sure that we understand what that means. Inferencing is to make an educated guess using your background knowledge and what you have learned from the text. So I know last time I talked a little bit about background knowledge, and background knowledge is all the things that you already know. Okay, another word for that is your schema. Okay, so all the stuff that you already know, things that you've learned from other books you've read, things that you've learned from things you've done, places you've been, and it's all the things that you know. Okay, you've seen it, you've experienced it, you've read about it, even if you've watched it on TV. It all adds to your schema or your background knowledge. Okay, so we use our background knowledge when we inference, and also we learn from what we inference from what we've learned about the specific text we're reading. So all the things that we've learned so far in the first 27 chapters will help us make inferences in the chapter we're about to read. Okay. All right, so before we read today, I wanted to go over a couple things to remember. Everybody should have something to write with and write on. Okay, I know if you're live, you already have that. If you're watching from at home on YouTube, then you can go ahead and take this time to get something to write with and write on, because you'll have a little exercise to do at the end and then send in on email. Make sure if you are live, you have listening ears and patient voices. If you have something to share, just raise your hand or give us a little wave. Okay. Take notes to look back at. It's a kind of a long chapter, so if you want to take notes and jot down so you don't forget, that's totally fine. You will see the words on the screen as we go. So that'll help you a little bit as well. But always take good notes. Good readers take good notes as they go. Okay. Let's see. Your thinking job today is to think about how Melody's feelings change from the beginning to the end of the chapter, because how she's feeling and what she's experienced at the beginning is very different than what her and her family experience and what they feel at the end. Okay, and so we'll kind of go over that and talk a little bit about that. All right. So let me go ahead and pull up the words. Okay, can y'all give me a thumbs up if you can see the chapter? Perfect. Okay, so chapter 28. How can they expect us to get ready in such a short time? Crazy. Plane tickets and permission slips, paperwork and practice. Practice every day for close to 2 weeks. Study every evening with Mrs. V. Mrs. V. Words, cities, states, countries, capitals, oceans, rivers, colors, diseases, weather, numbers, dates, animals, kings, queens, birds, insects, wars, presidents, planets, authors, generals, laws, quotations, measurements, equations, definitions. My head has been spinning nonstop with facts and figures, but I'm ready now. Our team is ready. Mr. D kept his promise. The 6 highest scorers from all our practice rounds were announced at the last practice session a few days ago. Of course, just like the other kids, I had been keeping a mental tally of everybody's points, so I was pretty sure I'd be one of the on-air contestants, not an alternate. Mr. Dimming almost glowed with anticipation as he made the announcement. He paced nervously, a little more, and the man would have been dancing. Here we go, he said. I feel like I need a drum roll or something. Read the list, please, Connor shouted impatiently. Mr. Dimming said slowly, the 6 members of the Championship Spalding Street Elementary School Quiz Team are, and he paused. I thought Connor was going to throw something at him. Rose, Connor, Melody, Elena, Rodney, and Molly. Claire and Amanda will be our alternates. I'm an alternate, Claire gasped. Molly beat you by 2 points, Claire, Mr. D explained, but you still get to come with us and cheer us on and tour the city. But it was me who helped her study, Claire said, outrage in her voice. This is not fair. So I want to stop there for a second. And if you can see, I highlighted the word outrage, and I wanted to talk about that as a vocabulary word. And I wanted to see if we can figure out together what the word outrage means. Okay, so I'll give you a second to kind of read that whole sentence again and see what clues we can find in the text to help us understand what Claire was feeling when it says that she had outrage in her voice. Give me a little hand raise if you think you have an idea of what the word outrage means. Michaela, what do you think? If you want to unmute yourself.
I think that she is getting mad because she is an alternate and she wants to be on the team that is.
Okay. What did you read in that sentence that helped you figure that out? What clues did you find?
I found that it has an exclamation mark.
Okay, an exclamation mark. That's excellent. An exclamation mark helps us understand that there's a lot of feeling and emotion, okay, with what's being said. But if we focus right here, Michaela, and everybody else, where it says, that is so not fair, okay, that definitely helps us understand that she is feeling upset and she's not happy about the situation. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes? Perfect. Okay, so let's keep going. I just shook my head and smiled a little. There is so much that Claire doesn't know about stuff not being fair. Molly looked smug and not at all sorry. Her mother came to pick her up, and the practice was over. The competition is tomorrow, Thursday evening. Assuming we win, we'll have the Good Morning America appearance on Friday, followed by a trip to the White House. More sightseeing in D.C. is planned for Saturday. Then we come home on Sunday. On Monday, hopefully, we'll return to school as national champions with that trophy. So tonight we pack. I've never been on a trip away from home before, so we have some serious planning to do. I feel crazy excited, crazy nervous. Dad bought me a bright red suitcase with wheels. It smells like the inside of a new car. Touching it makes me smile. Mom and I went shopping yesterday, something we don't get to do much anymore. She let me choose a couple of new outfits with jeans. None of those practical baggy sweatsuits for this trip. As we rolled down the mall, we passed a card shop. I had a brainstorm and tapped out on my board. Go in, get card, please. For whom? Mom asked as we wheeled in there. Catherine, I typed, to thank her for helping me get ready. How very grown up of you, Mom said, clearly pleased. One for Mrs. V, too, I tapped out. Absolutely. The card we found from Mrs. V could not have been more perfect. The front was completely covered with hundreds of oranges, except for one blue one in the middle. Inside, it said, "You're one in a million." Thanks. She'll love it, Mom said. For Catherine, I picked out a card that showed a desk full of computers and MP3 players and video games, and a young woman connected to all of them with earphones. It read, "Glad you're always there to plug into me. Thanks for all you do." You couldn't have designed those better yourself, Mom said as she paid for the cards. Yep, pretty perfect. Around 7 o'clock, the doorbell rings. It's Mrs. V coming over to help with the final packing preparations. She and Mom make a great team. I've made a checklist according to Mr. Dimming's suggestions, Mom says. Black skirt and white blouse for the competition. Check, Mrs. V says, as she neatly folds those two pieces into my suitcase. Check, Penny mimics. Extra white blouse, just in case, Mom says. Great idea, Mrs. V replies, nodding. Mom carefully folds in two more shirts and my favorite pair of jeans. Comfortable outfits for sightseeing in Washington, spending money for souvenirs, sunglasses, camera. Check, 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 Mrs. V repeats. Pajamas, toothbrush, deodorant, hair clips, all there. A warm jacket. No telling what this March weather will do. Check, Penny cries. Power pack for Meditalker. Extra batteries, tissues, and wipes. Got it. Umbrella? For you or for Melody? Mrs. V asks with a laugh. Do you have your bag packed? Yeah, I'm just about ready. I'm nervous too, Mom pauses. You're the best, Violet. I know Penny will be safe with you while we're gone. And butterscotch, I interrupted. They both laugh. Mom continues. Frankly, without you, there is no way that Melody would be packing for this trip. Get card, Mom, I type. I reach my hand to the side, but I can barely touch the edge of my book bag hanging on my chair. Mom reaches into the bag, pulls out the envelope, and sets it on my tray. I push it towards Mrs. V. She opens it, reads it, then squeezes me so hard I can hardly catch my breath. This one goes on my refrigerator door, she says quietly. I want to look at it every single day. She busies herself then with dusting off a pair of my shoes that have never taken a step. I'm a little scared, I admit. Nonsense, Mellow Yellow, Mrs. V tells me. I fully expect to see you on Good Morning America with that 10-foot-high trophy. That would be awesome, I type. Now tell me once more, Mrs. V says to Mom. What time does the plane leave tomorrow? Penny, take Melody's underwear off your head, you silly little girl. Mom checks her papers. Plane leaves at noon. That means we should leave here no later than 9, get to the airport by 10, get all checked in, Make sure her wheelchair is properly taken care of and such. Then we can relax until it's time to board the plane. Mrs. V scratches her head. I wonder why they chose the noon flight. That will get you into Washington around 2. The competition starts at 7. That is cutting it a little close. Mr. Dimming told us the hotel has a late check-in policy. The TV studio is just across the street from the hotel, so we'll be fine. As Mom closes and zips my suitcase, I feel tears come into my eyes. I can't believe this is happening. In just one day, I will be in Washington, D.C., on national television. I pray I won't screw up. I want to call Rose and see if she's nervous too. I want to ask her what she'll wear to the White House. Suppose we get to meet the First Lady. Now that would be the bomb. I want to know if we'll be sitting near each other on the plane. I want to be like all the other girls. I don't sleep well that night. In the morning, Mom gets me bathed and dressed and fed in record time while Dad gets Penny ready. Go see plane? She asks repeatedly. Fly, wee, Dad says as he flies her around the room in his arms, and she loves it. We head outside, and Mrs. V hurries over, camera in hand. She snaps pictures of me getting strapped in, my suitcase being loaded, and my brave and hopeful victory smile. Then she does it all over again with Dad's camcorder. No, we'll never be able to forget this morning. Penny darts about, chasing Butterscotch, running in circles around the car, which has been washed and shined. Mom, dressed in a cool denim suit and surprisingly a pair of late-style Nikes, loads our bags in the car, and we're totally ready to go by 8:45. Dad takes Butterscotch back into the house, then locks the front door on his way out. All set, he asks. Let's do it, Mom yells. Even Penny can feel the excitement. She claps her hands. I can't stop grinning. So I want to stop there for just a second and talk about this part so far. And how do you think that Melody is feeling? Give me a hand wave if you have any idea of how, if you can describe how you think Melody is feeling right now as they're getting ready to head to the airport. Oh, there's one right there. Is it Angel?
Yeah, I'm trying to
Yeah,
unmute him.
man.
There you go. Angel.
I think that manually, I think she feels nervous.
Okay, she feels nervous. Do you think that she feels a mixture of maybe nervousness and excitement?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this is important to understand how her feelings change. So I wanted to make sure we stopped a second and talked about what we noticed so far. So
You
I
have a
think
couple.
that
You have a couple more hands on another screen. I'll
sorry.
unmute. No, you're good. I'll unmute
Okay.
Dre for you, and then
Okay,
Derek, you're
perfect.
unmuted too.
Okay.
Dre, go ahead.
I agree with Angel. I agree because I think Melody kind of feels like what Angel said. She also feels more because I don't think that like Melanie's getting treated the same.
Right. You're right.
It's like when people were different back in the day, they didn't get treated the same, and it's kind of like that with Melanie.
You're right. That is an excellent observation. Thank you, DeRay.
Michaela, wait, make sure you're unmuted before you go. There you
There
go.
we go.
I think that Melanie is confident, excited, and nervous.
Mm.
Right. Just kind of a mixture of emotions, all kinds of things running through her head.
Yeah.
Yep. You guys have some excellent responses. Was there anybody else?
Let me look. I know Derek was trying to raise his hand, but I can't get him off the mute.
Oh, okay.
But guys, this next couple pages, you gotta have your listening ears on. She's about to get to the airport.
All right.
Go ahead.
Thank you for your responses. We'll go ahead and keep going. Even though we have plenty of time, I keep wanting Dad to drive faster. I'm so afraid that we'll miss the plane, or that we forgot my ticket, or that I'll throw up and will have to go back home. At the airport garage, we have no trouble finding a row of empty handicap parking spaces. We unload me, my chair, our bags, and Penny and Doodle. Mrs. V snaps more photos. It seems like hours, but in minutes, we're at the check-in gate. Mrs. V pushes me. Mom carries Penny. Dad pulls a cart loaded with the luggage and Doodle. It's 10 o'clock on the dot. Hi, Mom says cheerfully to the uniformed lady at the desk. We're here to check in for the noon flight to Washington, D.C. She hands the lady our tickets. The noon flight, the woman replies with a frown. She types and clicks, purses her lips, then types some more. Finally, she looks up. I'm sorry, ma'am, but that flight has been canceled. We've had loads of cancellations today. A late winter snowstorm in the Northeast has caused backups all over. Canceled? My stomach starts to gurgle. Snow? Mom's voice sounds thick. But the weather here is sunny and clear. Well, they've got 5 inches on the ground in Boston already, and more is predicted for this afternoon farther south. The FAA won't let planes take off in weather like that, so our whole system gets gummed up. Planes due to arrive here and then return eastward get canceled, meaning our afternoon flights can't depart. It's complicated. I'm sorry. The desk agent continues to type rapidly. She tells Mom, I can get you and your daughter on the next direct flight out, however. It leaves here at 7:23 p.m. and will get you into Washington at 9:07. The Weather Service has predicted that the storm system will have fizzled by then, so we can start getting folks where they need to be. Actually, tomorrow it will all be rain. My heart is thudding now. Would you like me to rebook you now? She smiles cheerfully. She doesn't get it. But the competition starts at 7, Mom mumbles weakly. Excuse me, I didn't hear you, the desk agent says. I can't breathe. Mom speaks a little louder. What about the rest of our group? We're traveling together. A group of school children, a quiz team actually. They were also booked on this flight. We've got a competition this evening. Oh, I remember those kids. They were here early this morning, a great group, so polite and well-mannered. They told me all about the competition and the huge trophy they might be bringing home. They came early? Mom croaks. It seems they all went to breakfast together, then came straight here. It's a good thing they did too, or they wouldn't have gotten out. Where are they? Mom asks. Oh, they got switched to the 9 o'clock flight, the last eastbound plane to get out before flights started getting canceled. They had to run down to the gate, but they made it just on time. I made sure of it. She looks down at her computer. Yes, that flight left about an hour ago. They're gone? Mom whispers. I feel like I'm going to choke. Are you and your family going to DC to cheer them on? The woman asks. She still doesn't get it. No, my daughter is on the team, Mom explains. We must get to Washington. Isn't there another flight, perhaps on another airline? The woman looks at me and blinks. She starts to ask, but then she catches herself, returns her gaze to her monitor, and begins typing furiously once more. I can hear her fingernails as they click on the keys. Dad places both hands on the ticket counter and leans in toward the agent. I've never seen him so angry. How could this happen? Shouldn't we have been notified that the flight was canceled? We try, sir, but it's not always possible. The lady replies, sounding truly sorry. We do always advise passengers to call ahead and check their flight status. But this was the trip of a lifetime. You can't possibly understand how important this is to my daughter. I squeeze my eyes shut. Stupid elevator music floats from the tiny airport speakers. I hear no beautiful colors. I smell no lovely aromas. All I can see is the darkness behind my eyeballs. I'm really, really sorry, sir, the lady says. What about a connecting flight? We must get her to Washington this afternoon. The woman types and clicks for what seems like hours. Finally, she looks up. There are no other flights to DC on any other carrier, sir, nonstop or otherwise. That weather system has grounded everything. There will be nothing until later this evening. I'm so sorry, she whispers. I open my eyes because they are filling with tears. Dad walks away from the ticket counter, his face scrunched into tight wrinkles. Then, without warning, he smashes his fist into the wall right next to where I am sitting. So I wanted to stop there. Okay, we're almost finished, but I wanted to stop there to really focus on that section, because we're talking about Melody's dad who smashes his fist into the wall right next to where I'm sitting. That's pretty powerful. And I wanted to ask you guys to think for just a second and share your thoughts with me. Why do you think dad would do that? That's pretty intense for a dad to be in an airport and smash his fist into the wall. Michaela, what do you think? You want to unmute yourself?
I think that he's really mad because he knows that this is important for Melody, because she doesn't really participate in anything.
Right, absolutely. Very nice. Angel, what do you think?
He's mad because I think he's mad because he thinks that Marilyn, she's gonna lose.
Okay, right. And so it's looking right now like not only will she lose, she won't even be able to get there and participate. So yes, dad seems to be angry, dad seems to be mad. I was thinking that another word that came to my mind was the word furious. He's more than just mad, right? To go and do something like that. Were there
It's
any?
okay, you have your hand up.
Yes.
He was probably disappointed.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? Disappointed, absolutely. Very disappointed.
He's very mad.
DeRay, do you want to go?
Yes. What I wanted to say is I agree with Issa. I think she was very disappointed, and she and also she was not feeling the same.
Right. Her feelings have definitely changed, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue and see what happens next. I jerk my head up. I know that had to hurt. Ah, I shouldn't have done that, he admits, holding one fist in the other. But if I could have smashed my fist against a wall, I would have as well. Mrs. V looks from Dad to me. I don't understand how this could have happened either, she says to Mom. Shouldn't someone from the quiz team have called you? Her voice could crush bricks. The teacher, perhaps? Maybe there wasn't time, Mom said helplessly. At least that's what I hope. Surely they wouldn't have left her behind on purpose. I still have not taken one deep breath. I really do apologize, ma'am, the gate agent finally says. I've even checked airports in nearby cities. There are no flights out of this area until this evening. I have plenty of seats on our 7 o'clock flight if you'd like me to book you. No, thank you, Mom says quietly. It's too late. The entire airport feels like a vacuum to me. No sound, no voices, no air. Mom walks slowly toward me. I sit there in my new blue and white outfit with new matching tennis shoes, next to my new red shiny suitcase, feeling very, very stupid. And angry. How could they do this to me? And helpless. I hate feeling like this. Like when I was little, I got stuck on my back like a stupid turtle. There was nothing I could do. Nothing. How long does it take to drive to DC? Mrs. V asks. I don't even look up. I know the answer. 10 hours at the very least, Dad replies, his voice soft. Go fly airplane? Penny asks. No fly today, Dad says, touching her gently on her head with his good hand. Mom rolls over to a bench on the other side of the check-in area. She kneels down in front of me, and she's crying. I don't think I'll ever breathe again. Mom hugs me. I'm going to be okay, sweetie. I'm sorry, it's going to be okay, sweetie. You're still the best, the smartest, the most wonderful girl in the world. Somehow, we're going to get over this. No, I won't. Mrs. V wipes her eyes as well. She sits on the bench and takes both my hands in hers. Oh, baby girl, I know this is hard, but there is just no way to get you to Washington. I just sit there. The morning started out like crystal, but the day has turned to broken glass. It's pretty powerful, I think. It's a pretty intense chapter there. I really, as a reader, I really took notice to how this chapter ended, and I highlighted it there for you at the bottom, where it says, I just sit there. The morning started out like crystal, but the day has turned to broken glass. This was an example of how the author used some figurative language to add detail, okay? So it says, the morning started out like crystal, but the day has turned to broken glass. Okay, so can a day really be broken glass? You can just shake your head or yes or no? No. So it's just a way that the author used figurative language, which is when you use words to make the reading more interesting and to give it more detail. Okay, so they actually used an example of a simile and a metaphor there to compare two things together. So like the morning was like crystal, but the day turned out to be like broken glass. Okay, so I really like how the author chose those words to compare those the day to how basically how she was feeling. Okay, all right. So were there any thoughts before we move on to our writing prompt about what happened to Melody, just as you as a reader? What were you thinking, Angel?
I think when she said when she in the morning she felt like she felt I think that's her emotions.
Yes. And how do you feel as the reader about what they did to Melody?
Mm.
What do you
Mm,
think, Angel?
I don't know.
You're not sure? Okay, that's okay. Does anybody else have any feelings about, if you've been following this book, about what they did to Melody? And Michaela, what do you think? I know you've been on here for most of the chapters.
I think that they don't really like her as much as they do as the other people on the team.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking that too, is that maybe they didn't, feel as positive about her as she thought they did. Okay.
Yeah.
And for me personally, as a reader, when I read this, it really sparked some emotion in me, and I actually connected to it, and it made me feel angry. I felt angry as a reader. How could kids do that to each other? Okay. So that was a way that I could connect to it, to what was going on in the story. So I didn't know if any of you felt that way as well. Just kind of disappointed. And how could they do that to somebody? So.
Itzel and Duray, I'm unmuting both of you if you guys want to go.
It's if you want to go first, you can.
No, you can go first. You can go first.
Okay. Well, what I was thinking is I agree with Miss Starkey because it did make me feel angry because I kind of felt like they didn't kind of felt like they didn't leave the past behind. It's kind of like they still wanted to treat her differently because she's special.
Oh, yeah, I was feeling the same way. So, Duray, you and I connected on that.
Itzel?
Well,
I agree with them because I feel like their parents were the most that were like the parents are like the ones that were mad better than her. They were mad more than she was. I feel
right.
like I connect because when I was flying, I was taking the flight and then I lost a flight and my dad was the one that got really mad, and then I was not even like I was like okay, I just go to the second plane.
Yeah, yep, exactly. Any more thoughts? You guys have some really amazing things to share. Thank you so much. Michaela, did you have something else?
Alexa, Pause. I can connect because my brother has Down syndrome and he doesn't really do much, but it's really hard because if we have to be treated the same, all equally.
Oh, I love that. I'm so glad you shared that. That was an amazing example of a text to self connection, and I thank you for sharing that. But I can understand, where that connection came from, because that's something that you see on a daily basis. So very nice personal moment to share with us. Thank you. All right. Was there anybody else? Some great thoughts here. Okay. So let's go ahead and move on to our last page here. Okay. All right. So I want you guys to go ahead and think back to what inferencing meant. Inferencing was when we use our background knowledge, all the things we already know in our smart brains, and we add that to what we learn in the text or in the book, all the chapters that we've read so far. Okay. So I want you to think about and infer how Melody and her family feel at the end of chapter 8. Okay, so I want you to write about that. And I want you to use evidence from the chapter to support your thinking. So I want you to use some examples. Okay, so we could say one of the examples that we came up with so far was, we know, because this is about Melody and her family. So you can write about Melody, maybe, and her mom and her dad and how they all felt. And one good example that we came up with so far is that we know that dad was furious or angry. And we know that because of the evidence that he smashed the wall with his fist. Okay, so we want to infer and say he's angry, but then we want to back it up with the evidence, with the part that he smashed the wall with his fist at the airport. So that would be an example of writing down what we think and how they're feeling, and then backing it up with good support from the text. So I want you to go ahead and write a response and then email it to me, Ms. Starkey. My email is at the bottom there. And I want you to maybe give me just a couple of examples of how you could tell how they were feeling at the end. Okay, and then with each example of their feeling, include at least one text evidence to support that. Okay, are there any questions about what you're being asked to do? And then if you email that to me, okay, I'll go ahead and read through that and respond to you that I received it. And then I'm also sharing that with Miss Green and the other 4th grade teachers. And that way, if you do respond and send it in, we can make sure that you receive your credit for the reading for the week. Okay, so I'm making sure that everybody gets credit for their hard work and taking the time to send their reader's response. Does anybody need more time for that, to write that down? Perfect. Well, if you're at home and you are watching this on YouTube, I hope you've enjoyed chapter 28. Okay, and then if you have any questions about what you need to do to get credit, you can email me, or of course Miss Green, and I'm happy to help you as well. And I look forward to finishing the book with you guys, and I appreciate everybody, and we will see you next time.
And you'll be getting a surprise little video tonight as I read the next chapter, because it's only 4 pages. So there's 2 videos today. See everybody next.
Daddy, we got 2 videos
Bye.
today.